I've been sitting where you're sitting, and I don't mean just this morning. I've been a director of marketing for a global manufacturer. I've faced the challenges that probably most of you are facing. It's hard. Marketing is hard in a manufacturing environment. I think most people will agree to that. What I'm going to suggest today is very difficult, and you will get strong resistance if you pursue this. But on the upside, the rewards are much stronger. Before I get started on the presentation, let me tell you a story. As mentioned in my bio, I was a young officer on this ship, the USS Bruton. That's actually a picture of me on the bridge of the Bruton. And we were just heading out on a WestPac. WestPac is a Western Pacific deployment. It's a 6-month deployment. This was way back a long time ago, September 25th, 1986. And we left our home port of Pearl Harbor, and we headed out to Sasebo, Japan. Then we went to the Subic Bay, Philippines, and then we went to Singapore. And before we went on to our patrol into the Indian Ocean. So we had a nice port visit in Singapore, and then we had to get through the Straits of Malacca. Oops, which is right there. This is a shaky one. The Straits of Malacca is the major strait between the Pacific Ocean and the Indian Ocean. 94,000 vessels a year go through the Straits of Malacca. At its narrowest point, it's only 1.5 miles wide. It's 3,000 yards nautical miles. Ships that go through the straits, some are as big, these huge supertankers can be 1,500 feet long. The Sears Tower, wherever it is out there, is only 1,400 feet tall. If you took that tanker and put it on end, it's taller than the Sears Tower. So I had the watch. We left Singapore. I had the morning watch 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. And I go up to the bridge to take my watch, and in the Navy, when you're officer of the deck, you have responsibility for the ship above everybody else. So I walk up onto the bridge, and the officer I was relieving, he said, okay, you got 52 contacts on the radar. You've got 5 CBDR. CBDR means constant bearing, decreasing range. Means you're going to hit if something doesn't change. On top of that, it was pitch black. No moon, no stars, and there was dense fog. Foghorns going all over the place. I'm 25 years old. I haven't been trained for this. We're usually trained out in the open ocean where we have 3 contacts within 20,000 yards. It's pretty easy to miss those guys. So I knew I would have to do something different. I knew if I was going to get the ship and all the crew safely through the Straits of Malacca, I had to look at this quite differently. I had to do something different. I had to approach it differently. And that's what I'm going to ask you to do, to think differently, do something different. It was Albert Einstein, who everyone's heard this quote, especially engineers, they usually have a poster on their wall. Usually it's the one with his tongue hanging out, though. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, but expecting different results. Now is the time for marketers to do something different. Now is the best time you'll probably ever see in your lifetime to be a marketer, especially in manufacturing. The opportunity is huge. But again, it's hard because you're up against a culture. I know what you're up against. It's a company that makes a product. It's all about the product. It's a product culture. And what I'm going to suggest to you is that you market without mentioning the product. It's going to be difficult. You're going to get a lot of resistance, and again, the rewards can be huge. I can't do a complete content marketing how-to presentation in 30 minutes. So what I'm going to do is hit the highlights. I've got 3 major, I call them the 3 big points for content marketing in manufacturing. Number one, we'll talk about how you can increase engagement 50 times, 100 times, sometimes more at the top of the funnel without talking about the product. And I'll show you why that works, give you a couple of things to consider.